So yeah, out of the gate here, I'm going to be looking to scale into some shorts right away and see what happens.
Okay.
I shouldn't say
Deanna.
see what happens, but yeah, my plan is to scale into some shorts for my first trade. That's what I'm looking for.
We're going to see what happens, JD. Let's see what happens. Deanna, good morning, good afternoon. How are we looking? What are we trading today? How are we looking?
I'm going to stick to gold today. Okay. We already have the value acceptance. So we opened below value, went higher, and accepted value. So there could be some scope for longs. Not too happy with this second B period. So that's the second 30-minute COMEX candle. So I'm going to, again, stay patient. I am going to look for a very good opportunity. I have some hypos for both sides of the story. We have a bit of a slowdown on the daily chart on gold and a potential reversal from there. So that makes me a little bit reticent to kind of go long into the value acceptance when the daily chart seems to have some trend exhaustion. So again, I need to stay patient, see what kind of a day we end up. It's Wednesday. So we might have a neutral day. Usually if we're going to go straight up value acceptance, it doesn't quite look this way. So we wouldn't get like a sell-off, we would get a continuation. So from that point of view, I'm just sitting on my hands right now and just observing, aggregating the information that is coming in. So yeah, I'm sitting on my hands for now. I'm not going to do any early trades just yet.
Excellent. Okay.
I got short 2 in the opening range.
All right.
I've taken one off at a small profit and going to see if we can get a gap close here to settlement. And if we do that, that's going to be the overnight low. We take that out, then maybe we'll stick with this for a little bit.
All right.
There goes the opening range to the downside in the NASDAQ, JD.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing at first a little bit of a delta divergence. We were moving lower and delta was higher. We've kind of taken that off on this push to the downside. Let's see if that divergence comes back in and see if we keep moving lower.
Okay. Well, we do have access to the house account today. We had some success on Monday with the house account, success on Tuesday with the house account. Only things we're missing some levels. So please, we'll put a link in there. You fill out the form. We need some levels from you guys in the audience. We got our trusted traders here. You got John, we got Deanna, we got JD with their levels. There you go. Let's pump that form up there, pin it to the top of the chat. We'll get those levels from you guys and hopefully execute a house account trade. We'll see if we get out the middle here. Find some new levels, and we'll pump.
Andre, what's your preferred market to trade at it?
ES. Yeah, good question, John. Actually, good question. ES. Yeah. NASDAQ's a little too crazy.
Okay.
You're taking instant heat, and the size we're doing 10 lots in the NASDAQ. I mean, you're taking $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 worth of heat on some of these trades right out of the gate. So let's do ES. So send in those ES levels if possible.
We got the point of control down here at 51.04 half from yesterday, 0450. Where is our overnight low? Where is our overnight low? Oh, there it is. 51.06 half. I mean, if you're not interested in looking at the opening range trade, and I don't blame you if you don't. If we can get to the overnight low, and if we can't hold below it, that might be an opportunity for a long. Okay. I'm inclined to look for shorts here. We did open with a gap. We've closed the range gap. We haven't closed the settlement gap just yet.
All right.
But in the longer time frame, it's a short would be, in line with the bigger picture, right? But a long and shorter time frame is probably, what we might be looking to do. I mean, we've closed the gap. We haven't traded to settlement. We are currently holding the opening range as the high of the session in both the S&P and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks a little bit more buoyant.
Buoyant, good word.
Mm-hmm.
I did just stack some offers right around the overnight high in the NASDAQ.
Okay.
Thinking possibly take out that high from overnight and then turn around and make a run at the overnight lows. That is my play right now.
Right. Yeah.
First offer at 51 quarter, 51 quarter, 56 quarter, and 60 half. Those are my 3 offers in the NASDAQ right now. I'm going to risk a total of $750 on this trade. I know where my stop is going to be right around just above this high, going back to last Wednesday.
And you're in.
All right. Hit on 2 of them.
There you go. I'll stop if you've heard this before.
Out the high of the opening range.
Dow selling off. NASDAQ catching a bid. I feel like we do this every open. It's crazy. It's crazy. Every open lately. Dow lower, S&Ps and NASDAQ. Yep. Trying to herd cats is right. All right, JD, let's do this. Wide open. Gold catching a bit of a bid here. Trade. Ooh, now we're new high. A couple pennies, a couple ticks off the new highs here in gold. Rejection there.
It's still a little bit jumpy for me here, so
Okay.
I'm gonna sit and wait. I mean, we have a pretty good initial balance range here in gold at 121 ticks. One thing I'm not really keen on as well is that we're already building structure inside the initial balance. That doesn't generally bode well for a trending day. So again,
my third
there
one.
could be a chance of a neutral.
All right.
We got JD short 3 here.
So one level in the NASDAQ here, 17,768.5 is 5% off the all-time highs.
17,768. 768. 5% off all-time highs. Jeez, we're right back there, huh? Right back there. Okay.
Yeah, we're above that in the S&Ps. I just got stopped out on my second.
All right.
Because we took out the opening range by about four ticks there. Might be a good time to short it now.
I'm tightening up my risk here. I'm going to take a total of $900 each on this trade. Looks like I'm going to get hit.
Did see some headlines out of the Middle East. Conflict continues to escalate, I see. So we'll keep an eye on that. Well, let's see me. We are trading above 83.
And we're starting to pile in some positive delta here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I have a question for equities. On Financial Tuesday, I keep seeing market on open imbalance, MOO imbalance, MOO imbalance. So how much weight will you give to that particular piece of information? Because I know we have the MOC at the end of the day. Does that play into any of your decisions, John?
It might. Okay. Right. There was a question about that either in the chat or in group coaching yesterday, and I was pondering that last night. And I'm, how can I use that? How can I use that? How can I use that? And if there was a way for me to use it, it would be if I'm planning or expecting to take the opening range trade in a particular direction, like if there only 32 million on the market on open is not much.
Yeah, it's
right?
small.
Yes. So, but if I was looking to take the opening, go ahead.
Yeah, if it was big number, like if it was in, let's say, 800 million or 1 billion.
And it was, in a direction that I was planning on taking the opening range, that probably would encourage me to do it.
So it would play into some stacked up information that you can take advantage of.
I would probably expect a bigger opening range if it was, $1 billion or more.
Right. Okay. That's great information. Thanks, Oak.
I think it's pretty rare to see an opening imbalance of over
It
a
is.
billion or close to a billion.
I think you're right.
Opening balances are typically a couple $100 million
Small.
in that range.
Right.
Yeah, much smaller than the closing balance. Renee says I was a little early. Yes, I was. I think I had the right idea. My timing was just off a little bit.
I'm gonna
Coming right back to my
focus.
initial entry.
Yeah,
We'll
we're
wait a
right.
few more minutes.
In the S&Ps, we're right in the middle of the overnight range.
All right. Hands off.
NASDAQ has already taken out the high of the overnight range. And if it's showing signs of acceptance up there, good buddy, be careful being short.
Yeah, for sure. No gap fill on the downside. Never really tested the overnight low. Just kind of ripping higher now. So
Bulls in control.
Reevaluate.
Bulls got it right now.
And I'm in the chat saying Microsoft ripping to the upside.
Let me take a look.
Yes, is going above.
Yes, it is.
Is it? This is just crushing. Yeah.
Apple's popped a little bit. Tesla's kind of rangy from yesterday. After the pop, it just kind of fell into range. It's still in that range. Meta actually heading the other direction had a pretty good dive to the downside, but is recovering now at 506.
Speaking of Meta, we have Meta after the bell today.
Yep.
Bit of a quiet open. We got
a little bit.
I've seen some sellers. NASDAQ pumping higher. Like John said, S&P's in the middle of the range. And Dow just hanging out to the downside. So divergences all over the place in the equities. Crude, chop around 82.88. A bit of a quiet open, which is okay.
A little bit.
Hey, hey there, Eddie. A bit of a quiet open. Is it quiet on the economic calendar there too? How are we looking for today?
Pretty much. Yeah, we had a hearty breakfast this morning with the economic numbers. But coming into today in about maybe about 45 minutes, crude traders, we got our crude oil inventories. They're looking at 1.7 million. Prior was 2.735. Also, you got your crude imports, refinery. Scrolling down a little bit, we will be having an Atlanta Fed GDP, and it's going to be at 11:30, and the 12 o'clock 5-year note auction. Otherwise, that is all we've got, Andre. And my eyes are on the prize of watching the hot wire, and we'll share anything I do see.
Thank you, Eddie. He said he is scanning the wires for any breaking news all across the globe, as well as economic numbers throughout the day.
I apologize this morning. I kind of omitted the EIA petroleum status report from my list on during opening call. I don't know what happened, but
the humanity.
Yeah, the humanity. Oh, you're in timeout, John. Humanity. We'll forgive you on this one, but yeah, 9:30 EIA inventory is coming out. We post on that. Nick T says I'm short 778s in the NASDAQ. Nice stop. I'll let this play out again.
Nice.
Try to pull some levels from you guys. Execute a house account trade. If we got a couple levels lining up, where submissions did say short 17,800s and also said get long at 17,800. So that's a bit confusing. Need a little bit more clarity, before we do pull the trigger on a trade, but we do appreciate you submitting your levels.
Good morning, Randolph.
Brother, is the brother in the house?
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Quick look at the tilt. Nothing really showing. 50-50s across the board for the most part. We haven't been seeing too crazy of tilts, I'm going to say, this week. Nothing that comes to mind. YM gets a little tilty, but then again, YM sample size is smaller than the rest. Shout out to John for recognizing that. Hogue, you were all over that one. So we got to take that with a grain of salt, which is okay. Hey, but a tilt is a tilt. 90% is 90%. So
yeah,
on that.
It seems to me that these markets are just kind of hanging here, looking for new information. we've had a pretty good pullback here. I don't think the pullback, like JD agrees, it has been all that magnanimous. I've been wrong before. The market loves to make a liar out of me, but think about what we're looking at moving forward. I mean, we've got first quarter GDP numbers coming out tomorrow, jobless claims as usual. That's that GDP number might be something that we're looking for, and we know we've got the FOMC meeting coming on Wednesday. Big earnings after the close today. Big earn after the close.
Looking at a higher time frame, checking out a 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ now, it does look like some of this buying pressure is sort of petering out, drying up a little bit. I'm still going to give it a few more minutes before I jump into another trade, but might look scale into another short trade.
All right.
We'll see what happens in the next few minutes, though. Up against the current high, JD?
Correct, yeah. Stops just above. I'll scale in with entries just above the current high.
All right, starting to see some levels here in the chat. Getting short from between 780 and 800. Ooh, short around 780 again. Might be the short.
Might be.
Yeah, switch on over. See what we got over here.
Right now, I'm feeling Munson out here in the middle of nowhere. This is in honor of you, JD. You got a big night tomorrow night, right?
Oh,
big night. Bowling finals on Thursday. Yep.
Championship.
Big night.
Just remember, nobody messes with the Jesus.
Nobody messes with the Jesus, right, John?
You said it.
You said it, man. You said it.
Yeah, well, that's like your opinion, man.
What is so good? All right. Well, we are catching a bit of a runner here in the NASDAQ. We are seeing some shorts, saying short between 780 and 800. All right.
John Jones, the difference in the CL levels is probably because I'm looking at TPO point of control on a different platform, and that's volume point of control. My volume profile settings on Topstep X, we can't really populate it automatically, so I just use the volume profile fixed range, and I put it on there. That's gonna, well, it didn't fly that time, but hang on. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of it on the overnight. So that's I go from, like in the S&P's 8:30 to 3 o'clock, and that's gonna set it. Now you may want to increase the row sizes so you get a little bit more detail on it, and the value area. I always put it 70%. So there's how I get that, and you have to do it manually right now, but I'm sure we're going to be working on that in the near future. Still inside the overnight in the S&Ps here. Still inside the overnight in the S&Ps here. John, stay patient.
Yep,
John,
definitely
stay patient.
Starting to see consensus about getting short at 17,800, and we're running right up to it. So,
yeah, I stacked a couple more offers at new highs up here. Right around, there's 100 lot right around 17,800.
I just saw that.
It's been sitting there.
So I'll be working.
That's probably MP.
Is it MP? MP, where are you at, MP? Yep. All right. See if we can get up to the 800s. Probably take a house account short if we get up there. We take a couple tries to get there.
Good plan. Good plan.
Okay.
A lot of folks are focusing on that, huh?
Looks like it.
So it's big fat round numbers.
It's big fat round numbers, right?
The FRN.
NASDAQ catching a bid now. I'm sorry, S&P's catching a bid. Here we go.
Good, Gary.
All right, see if we can do this.
Hey, MP, he's listening. He's traveling. He just
MP?
commented. So that's that
Where's he
100
at?
lot's not him.
It's not.
Unless he's trading on his phone in a plane.
Interesting, Michael. Interesting. All right, we're running
filled
here.
On one. Filled on one, short one at 95 quarter.
You got 95 quarters?
Yep.
Wow.
Took off the high.
That's the benefit of putting in an offer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. My goodness.
Andre, are you set up for this?
I am set up for this. Yeah,
all
we get up there.
Right.
We get up there.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to. Definitely going to test it.
I'm working another offer just above that 100 lot.
Above it, I'm working at 17,800s.
I'm gonna put my dome on the NASDAQ just to watch this.
Okay.
100 lot.
There's a 100 lot there.
Yeah. 17,800, right on it.
All right, yep.
You're not the only one that's looking to short there.
Apparently not.
Or take a profit, one of the two.
Or take a profit. Yes, we'll never know. But we're coming off a little bit right now. Nice filling those 95s, JD.
Yep. In the money a little bit. Just a single. I had some offers scaled in. Only hit on one of them.
Now I remember why I don't trade this.
Are you watching this, John? Do you watch this?
It's just crazy. Gives me heart palpitations. So, Dre, how many are you set up to get short up there?
Currently looking at selling 10. We did pull off here. Yeah, but I think everybody was looking at 17,800 hoop. I think you're right. Probably got a little too greedy on that entry. That was a level, so we'll stick to those levels. JD front ran it quite nicely.
Someone's asking, am I frozen?
You're frozen.
Hopefully
Are you
not.
frozen? Will you thaw out, please?
In my soul, yes.
Oh, no.
No, generally. I'm just still watching and trying to collate all the data, so that takes a little bit of concentration.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just observing, trying to come up with some hypos. I've got about 3 for now.
Okay.
So I've got that value acceptance as a possibility, but we don't have a follow through yet. And then I was talking about the neutral date type, which is now my primary hypo.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then I also have the continued sustained auction in case the value acceptance continues past value, and I might be able to catch a trend day there. But I'm not liking anything for now, so I'm just staying quiet and just observing. So I'm still in observation mode for now.
Good.
So not frozen, still here, still present.
All right, good. She's not frozen. Thank goodness.
Yeah. We do have some thunderstorms here, so that's kind of it's a little bit loud. I don't know whether you can hear it, but things are just very blowy and stuff. So I'm just kind of looking at one of the trees that my mom has in the garden. So I'm like, please don't smash into the window.
That would be nice.
I took that one lot offer. I took that one lot short offer, a $750 profit.
Nice,
JD.
On the day.
Yeah, that's good, man.
So we get
back to that's back to bedrock there.
I'm gonna stack another offer up top just in case we make another run at the highs. Still working an offer at 0175 above that 100 lot.
John Jones saying, Eddie Horn, did you ever come up with a theme song for Andre? I thought Deanna's theme would be the Doctor Who opening. I actually like that. Bigger on the inside. Yeah.
Those 95s, JD. 95s, my man. Beautiful.
That was a spot.
That was nice.
That was the spot.
That was great, man.
That was beautiful.
We're currently trying to get everybody was kind of focused in the chat. We got a few people talking about 17,800. So currently have an offer up there in the house account. Just got short of it, and it has come off very nicely.
Those 95s, my God.
I know, right?
Here we go.
Meta's coming off pretty hard right now.
Oh yeah, I'd say S&Ps are definitely selling off, Isaac.
Yep. If we're looking for another run at those 800s, we should have a nice cheap trade entry to the long side right here around VWAP.
What's VWAP?
In NASDAQ, I'm showing 29, around 29.30.
Okay. We blew right through that. We are selling hard. This is catching a fall. What is Jesus? By 10.
Yep.
And we're
Who's in?
I am. House accounts in. Off VWAP. Targeting 800s. We got some levels. I saw 35s in here. Yeah, this NASDAQ crazy.
You're in on the NASDAQ, Andre?
I am long NASDAQ from sorry,
It was a bold move, my friend.
It probably wasn't exactly according to the process, but we did play off view. All right, house accounts up 2,100. That was probably a little risky, probably not the greatest of trade.
Nice job,
hindsight, it was a winner. It was a winner, but
nice scalp though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That
winner's a winner.
Winner's a winner, but wasn't the wisest executions. But all right,
we got our cushion. We're good.
We got our cushion. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for making
it. There you go.
I mean,
very good.
Are there any wise trades in NQ? Because it's so insane. So anytime you end up with profit, just take it and be like, okay, next.
I know.
That was nice, Andre. That was good.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very decisive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait for some levels next time. I mean, VWAP. I like to play JD. Thanks for shouting that out. VWAP, huge sell off.
For sure.
We got Meta kind of getting down near that 496 level. It's just about 500 right now, right at 500. High is somewhere up around 510, so it's come off about $10 here in this half hour. Got a little bit of coiling going on here in the S&Ps. If you can see the overnight high, this low right here, the overnight low, we've come to it 3 times. We got 3 points of contact on both sides. I really don't want to do anything in the middle. If we get to either extreme, I can lean on that level to limit risk. If we show acceptance outside of it, we go with it. We'll see what happens. But this is a good triangle formation here. This 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 points of contact. This is one of your technical patterns, JD.
Sure is. Look at that. I've got a couple more offers stacked up ahead or up above around the 800 area.
Yep. Up by the 800, you said?
Yep. Almost want to get long into the move back up there. I just
targeting the 800s, right?
I just have that kind of that gut feeling that we're going to take another run at the high, but
yeah, I mean,
might be on
I'm going to hold off and see what happens for now.
We're above VWAP. VWAP is rising.
Made it back alive. Got out of the south.
Your Mick back there saying, "Wow."
Yeah.
Something caught Mick's attention. Wow.
Somebody
so just
got out alive, apparently.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat took that same trade that you did, Andre. People are saying
Nice.
getting long off that VWAP bounce. That was a good. That was a good trade so far.
That was a good trade. So just to kind of reiterate, Andre, you took that trade off of VWAP for a push back to the upside, which is currently still happening, right?
Yep.
And looking at the chart here, we can see that the market looked above the overnight high. It came back to VWAP. VWAP is rising. So I think that was a good idea. I think it was it was a good trade. Obviously, there was a bit of a profit to it, which is great. But just kind of reviewing, I'm not inside your head, Andre, but I can kind of feel your thought process on that. Well, VWAP is rising. We haven't been able to close the gap in the Nasdaq. We come back to VWAP. There's liquidity above that we're looking for the market to return to. So you took that long at VWAP, had a nice tidy profit. I think that was a good job. And just to kind of get into your head and tell everybody what you were thinking about that. And you did mention that in process, just kind of reviewing it for everybody.
Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm. As far as Delta is concerned, we are 570 up on the S&Ps, 200, just about 300 positive on the S&Ps. Nothing really all that impactful there. We're right back into the opening ranges in the equities, NASDAQ, S&P, and the Dow. The Dow still has the opening range at the high of the session. That opening range high in the NASDAQ in the Dow for you Dow traders is 38,727. And it's still in the range from yesterday. It basically inside value from yesterday. The Dow being very sticky to value here this morning.
So far, gold is going sideways. So some of my thought process is that we do have a failed auction to the downside, but we are in the middle of the initial balance, which minimizes my profit target. Yeah, so whenever I start to go, what should I go short? Well, maybe we got value acceptance long. That means I need to wait, because that means I'm kind of flipping and flopping in my head, and it usually indicates that the market is not actually giving me clear clues. So I still need to be patient here. I'm still thinking maybe a neutral day because of the way this is just ambling around, going nowhere quickly. So for now, my hypothesis is to maybe focus on the extremes of this range that we already established over the last sort of 90 minutes or so. And that means looking for shorts around 23.40 and then looking for longs somewhere in the zone from about 23.27, because everything's a zone. And what they usually like to do is after the euro close, they like to go through any nearby highs or lows that were previously established and then reverse. So that means a zone possibly around the overnight low, which is 23, 24, 25, let's say. So there's like a 3-point range to the downside that I might be interested in a long. But for now, I want a better trade location than what we've got right now.
That makes perfect sense.
You're staying more market stalker than market grasshopper.
Then market grasshopper, yes. So no boing, boing, boing today. So I want to find a trade with a decent profit margin. That is the objective.
Asymmetric. Right in the middle here. Yeah. There's no asymmetry to the trade.
No.
All right, we're kind of chopping around the middle here in the S&Ps. JD, I know you're working some offers in the NASDAQ. Last we checked in, are you still working those offers? Or have you...
Still working them. NASDAQ was just jockeying for position between 30 and 40 there for about 5 minutes or so. Kind of breaking out to the upside a little bit here again.
Okay.
I might stick some bids down below VWAP, looking for that run back up to 800.
So, CME stuff, I'm going to try and catch up on strike team stuff. I would have liked...
Stay patient there, James. James V. I can't with this market. Don't worry. Break out of this range.
Actually, in hindsight now, I might have missed that opportunity. I think that VWAP buy was the buy.
A lot of people called it out in the chat too.
Yeah, for sure.
Seemed to be a consensus on that play. Huh. Interesting.
JD, you're gonna have to be diligent about muting with Mick.
Yeah, I've been
holding
trying to.
court in the background. Who knows what horrible opinions he'll say about world events, people
Us.
we know,
Yeah.
world religions, people on air.
Yeah, this is
All right, here we go. Nasdaq's taking off.
Yeah, it was
up
right off
towards
VWAP. Bounced right off
Yep.
VWAP. Just like chat was saying.
Yep.
Just like the levels would say. Incredible. What an entry. All good, James V. Stay patient. Lesson there is VWAP. Speaking of VWAP, we'll have a VWAP expert, power players. After fast markets. Learn all about it. Why it's important.
Where is VWAP, Andre?
VWAP in the NASDAQ, I currently have it at 17,731. 17,731. S&P's 5116. 5116.
Okay.
Just a textbook setup. All the chat was all over. Shout out to the chat. JD.
Yep.
Nice entry there.
Yep.
Call that out. Get a consensus on these trades.
That's right. JD did call that trade.
He sure
Nice
did.
job. Yep. Was I right being in your head there?
100%, John. 100%. It's almost like we've been doing this for a minute. Yep. What a turnaround.
I like that.
Gold selling off here. Dow catching a bid. VWAP here.
Yeah, that failed auction at the top in gold.
Yeah.
It would have been a big preempt, but it would have paid.
Yeah, I still have a problem with the profit margin because the stop loss that I'm using right now is about 50 ticks. So really, I would need at least 130 ticks of space before it hits the other side, which I didn't have. I only had like 88.
Right.
So from that point of view, there was not enough profit margin for me to get involved here. Like I said, I'm up on the week, so I'm not kind of itching to give anything back. Doing like silly trades, so I must stay patient. This is looking like a range bound day so far in gold, and that means we have to stay patient, be more market stalker, less grasshopper.
Yes. That's the theme of the day right now, D.
Yeah, right?
That's okay.
Gotta find something to get our teeth into here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dow finally moving here. Will NASDAQ make another run for 17,800? Gonna try to push. Trying out a little bit of little steam here.
It's trying. It's really trying. It's been a nice bounce so far.
So if I can summarize, if I'm in
Yeah, we've been discussing VWAP quite a bit today, and that's a good thing because as we mentioned earlier on the opening call, we're going to have Brian Shannon as one of the pioneers of VWAP and anchoring VWAP. He is going to be discussing VWAP today at 11 o'clock in our Power Players session. I mentioned I bought a couple of books, and I'm waiting for him to get here. I was hoping they would be here by now. His book is one of the books that I just purchased, and I'm really looking forward to reading. It's called Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP, the perfect combination of price, time, and volume. I'm looking forward to reading that book. Comes with very high recommendations from our good friend Anne-Marie Band. And so I'm looking forward to that segment.
Nice plug there, John. Very nice.
Yeah, that is going to be good. I've been looking forward to this all week, too.
100%.
I will be in there.
Dolby
Paying
Very,
close
very,
attention.
very cool. Very cool guest, Dolby Time says. So please stay tuned for that. So what we do here at Topstep TV, bring you the best.
You know, with the theme of, you know, continuously learning, I have a kind of a love for trading books. If there's new trading books or somebody mentions a trading book, I am like compelled to go buy it. I've got a few that are stacked up that I still have to read, but I change their priority from time to time. I think this VWAP book is going to be one of the priority books now.
There's something to it, John. We're gonna find out the details. We're gonna get in the nitty gritty. There's definitely something to it. It makes sense. It's where business likes to be conducted. I mean, it makes sense. So.
Well, the chat is saying, "Oh, VWAP is just a 9-period SMA." No, it isn't.
Oh, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
Someone just opened a can of worms. Let's hear it.
Yes, they did.
Rant number 1 incoming.
Yes.
So VWAP has a volume component to it. So it's not just a simple moving average. It actually has the number. Yes, it starts off with a moving average, but then you also multiply that by the volume of contracts traded, and then you divide it by the volume traded as well. So that's quite a different number than just a good old mean average of SMA, just simple moving average. So slightly inaccurate there. Yeah, similar, but VWAP is more relevant because of the volume component.
All right, well, thank you for that, D. Yes, not just a 9-day SMA, unfortunately.
No.
A bit more to that. Real quick, we got Robert here in the green room. I'm just told he's in the green room. Bring him in.
There
Robert.
he is.
What's up, my man? Where's he at? Come on in.
He's got some equations as well.
Yeah, something's cooking over there. What do we got, Robert?
Yeah, this is I can hear. There we are. I can see now. I can see. All right, what we got behind me, everybody? I just want to pop in here real quick. First of all, I'm really looking forward to chatting with Andre and with Brian Shannon today at 11 o'clock on Power Players, talking about all that VWAP stuff. I was doing some reading last night. Great stuff. Saw some videos. He was seen with Anne-Marie Band several times. Awesome stuff. Really looking forward to that. But I'm here right now to tell you something. Look at the chat. Everybody in the chat right now. Thousands of people. At the top, pinned, there's a form in there where you can submit levels. I'm getting all excited. Look at this. I got my chalkboard going on over here. I'm getting these stats ready. We're getting these levels ready. I have an AI that I'm building. There's your secret sauce. We're letting the cat out of the bag right now. When you submit these levels, they dump into a spreadsheet, and I take them and we compile them through an AI that I'm working on, and we come up with a house trade, levels, positions, biases, all that other stuff. Okay? So everyone right now, if we could just please go into the top of the chat, click on that link right at the top. I'm watching the spreadsheet. I will see levels as they start coming through. We just had one person submit them. Thank you very much. As you enter them in, what I'm going to do is just take that data, pull it from the spreadsheet, throw it into the AI, and I will show you how that works. We'll submit it here, get you all the information. We're not going to use the stupid ass chalkboard back here. I'm just heading to bed. Just doing that to be funny. Yeah, look at this. CL Trader. Neither nerd rule the world. Absolutely. Let's get this thing done. We want to call these out. We want to place big trades. We want to put 10 contracts, 20 contracts, 50. MP wants to do 100 contracts by the end of the year. We're going to make it happen by the middle of the summer. That's what we're going to do. July 4th, Independence Day. We want to get it pushed out there, but we want the help from traders. The house account is the house account. It is not Andre's. It is not MP's. He has his own. They have their own. It's not mine. It's the house account. And we're trading the house account based on the levels that our traders provide for us. And we're going to do this with some help with technology. So let's get them in there. I see, look, 1, 6, 7 more levels entered in. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Here's the deal. We have 17,800. And here's the irony. 17,800 in the NASDAQ. 2 submissions for the same. One person said long, one person said short. The AI is going to fix that. So this is a cry for help. This is a call out. Get your levels in. Get them in there. Get them in there. Get them in there. MP's out today. We're going to have to drive this. We're going to push it. We're going to push it to the hill. Another 17,800 long. Another 17,800 short. My goodness. Keep them coming in here. They're coming in fast and furious. Folks, I really appreciate it. Back to the show. As soon as we get enough in here, I'll compile it. We'll get the graphics up here. We'll put the heat map up here. We'll start taking these dang trades. Thank you very much, chat. Back to you, host of the show. We'll be back to the chalkboard.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate this. Let's gather up some levels. We'll compile them, visualize them. We'll pull a trade off of that.
NASDAQ just blew right back down below VWAP.
Right below VWAP, both of them. Both of them. Getting down to the lower trend line on our little triangle here, JD.
Are you looking at the in the S&P? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Now this is a really kind of a cool level because, you know, if we continue this push to the downside from here, that's potential value area acceptance from yesterday. So if we get a little bit closer to that trend line, I think I can get a trade in here that's very low risk. And if it fails, we may go the opposite direction. But so far, we're not seeing really any acceptance inside yesterday's area of value. If we're on my screen, I can show you this in the profile. So we opened outside of yesterday's range and value. We've tested into value. Value high is basically the high of the day. That level is 51.12.5. But we've gone into it a couple of times, but we haven't been able to spend much time there, which indicates potential rejection. But if we start to show, you know, more TPOs coming into this, and we get a 30-minute TPO close, that would make value area acceptance, and that might bring us down to low of value from yesterday's session, 50.94 even. Right now, I mean, we don't have a very strong low here. Let me see this. Yeah, it's not a very strong low. No excess on the low here. We're hanging inside value. We've got a couple of kind of things in confluence. We've got the trend line from our triangle on the 30-minute chart here, or even the 5-minute chart. I mean, you can see it here on the 5-minute chart as well. And we've got that potential value area acceptance from yesterday. Dee, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Obviously, we still have some earnings and stuff, so I mean that could just put a wrench in the works and give us some maybe irregular shapes and days. So let me have a look. Haven't looked at it that closely. I mean, value area, yeah, it's around these levels, isn't it, on the ES? We are below overnight VWAP, so that would give us maybe a directional bias to the downside if we can accept value. But if we turn around here, then it will be a value high reversal.
Right.
And because we still have that condition of opening just in the vicinity of value, it's still outside range, but the value high is pretty close. So to me, that would spell more mild imbalance rather than like a huge imbalance, and that opens up a possibility for further longs. So again, it's a line in the sand, depending on how the price acts around this area. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but we do need conviction either side, which we don't really have right now.
Right. Yeah, as far as Delta's concerned, we're positive 1100, but we're at the low of the session.
Yep.
I'm leaning more towards shorts, but I can't yet.
Yeah.
Which means I should probably get long.
Well, all of my average ranges are very far away, which means that overnight did not move it much. It moved it just enough to make the overnight inventory long, but the range is still open for either side. So again, from that point of view, the only reference point is that value high here. So we have to wait and see how the next 9 minutes end.
Right.
If it accepts value, then that's a cause for a short. If it doesn't, and we go higher up from here and manage to maybe go above VWAP, then it's a long.
Right.
Staying objective, looking what the price is doing, looking for momentum and conviction in either direction. Convention? Is that a word?
Got some sellers here. Don't forget about 9 minutes till those EIA numbers.
We got settlement at 5106 half.
Okay.
We got a settlement gap. That might be something interesting. Yeah, settlement gap close. Right now, it's kind of rejecting value from yesterday here.
Cool. All right, Jack. Right before we hit these 9:30 numbers, got a bit of lull in the market right now. We're kind of in the middle. We try to figure out which way to go. Crude hasn't done a whole lot of much, and gold in the middle as well. So, Jack, hit us with some news.
Yeah, first, in honor of JD's bowling prowess right now, I just wanted to use that to give a warning from Michael.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he slacked me this exact thing. I didn't add the rest of it because this is a children's show. All right.
Nobody mess with the Jesus.
What are you doing there, Jack? You know what you're doing.
Quick news roundup here. Lamborghini. If you're looking to get a Lambo, maybe you are a Forex affiliate or something of the like. They now have an 800 horsepower hybrid, full electric that they're putting out, SUV. So something to put on the wish list. I also want to give an update of, as we know, MP passed the Series 3 yesterday. And the chat had the great idea that we kind of send the book around. And Fearless Leader went ahead and started doing that. So, James, I think we have a video to share real quick.
All right, Alec, I'm headed to the UPS right there. I'm going to send you this. This is a pay it forward type thing. I have a little note in there for you and everybody else. I read this book, little tip. I read the book from front to back, both these books. That's all I did. That's all I did, both of these books, and I passed. I wouldn't say I'm the brightest one out there when it comes to book smarts, but all I did was read a book and do it. As you can tell, the corner is burnt, and Kaplan right there is the worst study guide ever. But if it worked for me, it's going to work for you. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to ship it to you. I got your address. I really appreciate you sharing the address and you coming up with the idea. You are the next person in line, and then I hope you can pay it forward. And when you pass, you can pass it on to the next person. So he's going to help me out. Send it to you, Alec. Here we go.
So, Alex, don't let us down. Keep sending that around. And just to show the book, he indeed did try and burn it at first. Got through one
lower right corner
there.
God.
There's a little note, I guess, on the inside where if you pass it around, we want to have people sign it. And then we have one last picture of the, I wonder what the UPS guy was thinking when a guy comes in with a burnt book, filming themselves to hand it over. MP, I'm surprised you were able to get on that airplane today, to be honest. I would have figured you'd end up on some sort of list.
On the list,
but let's keep this going. Series 3. And there's your news.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. That's a little tradition we got going. Hey, we got almost 4,000 people watching. Please click like. Please click subscribe. We're on the march to 100,000 subscribers. We'll throw a big old party, TopstepTV style. Once we get there, it's something we're really working for. We thank you guys very much for being part of this community. Back to the markets.
Hopefully, Eddie can. Hopefully, Eddie can also create that MP puppet.
Yes,
that's right.
Voodoo doll.
So, have you seen what he meant? Like, it's just unbelievable. Eddie kept that one quiet. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, you can tell that it's not like, oh, it's just like some random hobby. He's really good.
Really good. He is.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Thank you, Dan.
Pro.
Thank you, Dan.
Eddie, how many subscriptions are on your that site, Facebook site?
Actually, 41,000 members.
41,000 members.
Unreal.
All over this wonderful blue marble.
Nicely done. We're getting quite a few submissions into that levels form that we pinned to the chat a little while ago. Robert's going over that data right now. We should have some trade ideas coming out in just a few minutes.
5 minutes remaining. Crude traders.
EIA in 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe right after the EIA numbers, we'll have some solid data to share.
A quick tilt update. Got 63% long in the gold. Everything else is damn near 50-50. Which makes sense. We're kind of in the middle here on most of these ranges.
Well, while we compile those levels, JD, you got a big day Thursday night. Hopefully, you'll get the trophy and get home safe after the big win. I'm excited. I got a friend of mine I haven't seen in a few years who actually worked on the trading floor with me. His name's Billy Pianchi. He's going to be coming in on Saturday and staying into Monday with me. And I'll see if I can get him on screen. He's an old friend of mine, good man. We can maybe tell a couple of floor stories, and I'm excited to see him. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to be staying with us for a couple of days. He doesn't have a car. He rides a motorcycle everywhere he goes, and that includes from
even in the winter.
Yes, he drove here in November from Pennsylvania on a motorcycle.
Man, that's his thing, huh? Good on you.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. So he's kind of in town, and he's gonna come and hang out with me for a little while on Saturday and Sunday and into Monday. So
sounds like fun. What do you got planned? Yeah. What are you guys gonna do?
You know, I don't really know if we have a plan. I mean, we're just gonna see what we feel like doing, and we'll do that. He did tell me though. He's like, if you're planning meals, I'm a vegan now. So what is a vegan? Anybody know what a vegan is?
No. What is vegan? I don't know.
No
meat. Yeah, hit me, Jack.
Throw it in the chat. Let's hear it.
Oh, I was waiting for what Hogue is going to say.
Yeah, what is it? What is a vegan, John?
I
you can't
don't
eat meat
know.
that eats other meat.
Yeah.
Is that
the definition, a person who follows a diet or philosophy, nothing abstaining from the use of animal products. So anything that involves an animal. Wow. So I don't know, you might want to feed them some rubber.
Carrots and
paper.
Rubber food? Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'll have to get some tofu.
Yeah. That passes.
There is now a company called Beyond Meat.
Oh yes,
so pretty popular they do some pretty I like it because I have some problem with like meats and stuff, just like physically. So I'm kind of like an enforced vegan. I mean, I obviously eat certain meats as well, but there are a vast variety that actually bother me, so I just can't eat it. And I've resorted to eating Beyond Meat burgers, and they're really good. Really good.
All right, I'll take that under consideration.
Yeah.
Like Soylent Green, right? Oh no, wait a minute. That's made from people. Never mind.
Yeah. Danielle says just send them outside to graze.
There you go.
Well, Nick asked a serious question, which is, can vegans trade lean hogs?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a great question. That is a great question.
Can they only go short? I don't know.
Hey. Hey. All right, Eddie, when we get that number, please. All right, I see a popping crude here. That number hit.
Oh, yeah. Did the number hit?
I don't.
Yes, we've got it here. Coming in. Has not hit yet. Okay. Looking at 1.65. Here as soon as it does hit. Slow boat.
Yep.
You know we're here.
Oh,
hey. They were making you wait for it.
Don't forget we got 5-year option.
Do you still have your motorcycle, Hogue? Are you guys gonna go riding?
No,
No,
I do not. When my kids were little and started asking for rides, and I would go riding around, and I started getting nervous. I'm like, I got 2 kids. If something goofy happens, and I didn't want them to really get into it at that age. Neither of them have been on street bikes much at all. So I just, what, I'm gonna sell it, and maybe one day I'll get another one, but I still haven't done that. I loved it though. I loved
you
riding.
missed it though, don't you, John?
Oh,
you
loved it. I loved it.
I can hear it.
I loved it. It was just so freeing, and there's just nothing like it. And even in the cold and the rain, and if you have the equipment to get through it, it was just a, I don't know, that was my main mode of transportation for years before I got married.
So cool.
I got a picture here. I'm trying to find it, of when I got back from my 3-month-long bike trip. George, no, I never went east. When I took road trips, I always went west for some reason.
Go west, young man.
Go west.
I don't blame you.
We got the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's just jockeying for position around VWAP right now.
Yes, it is.
Volume's really dying out.
S&Ps too.
I'm going to start thinking about positioning another short trade if this keeps.
Why
up
short,
for a few more
JD?
minutes.
Why
In
short?
the chat here, Adam's saying that negative 6.368 for crude.
Oh, just
Here
came
it
out.
is, coming in. Yes, thank you, Adam.
Come on,
The
Juice.
crude inventory is negative 6.368 for our crude oil inventories.
All right, seeing a sell-off now in crude. Come on, Financial Juice, get it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Juice is showing negative 0.634 and posting 6. Crude Juice. Somebody's smoking something over in Juice.
Come on.
Yeah.
My thought process behind the short is just to fill that overnight gap in the NASDAQ.
Mm-hmm.
Hogue was talking about possibly, if we fill that overnight gap, seeing some acceptance back into value from yesterday, and then possibly a run at value area low, which is all the way back down at volume value area low, right around 515. That is a trade I'm scouting out right now. Let's see what this data for the house account brings in.
Yes. Let's take a look at that.
We can put on a play in the house account if it looks to line up the right way, I guess you could say.
Did you fill on this short at all there, JD? Because we are selling off beneath VWAP.
Nope, never threw the offer in, but still just jockeying for position. Kind of barcoding right now on a higher time frame, looking at a 5-minute chart.
Crude now moving to the upside. Boy, crude's crazy. Crude now popping. About 7 cents. Oh, there we go. About 4 cents off the highs. Highs being $83.37. Now taking a bit of a dip to the downside here. Trading 38,000. Yeah, young Johnny.
There it is.
Oh man! Wow. What's in your hand?
I was like the Beverly Hillbillies there.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Welcome home. Were you Big John? Were you Big John back then? You were Big John. Okay.
My brother Rick, who's in the chat sometimes, he may be here now. There's Pops. 18,000 miles in 3 months on that bike. No fairing, no protection, just out in the wind.
Scraping bugs off your face.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I ate. I was like a baleen whale. That was krill to me.
Just open it up. All right, crude made new highs there. It's $83.43. We're about 3 cents off of that. S&P's finally taking a dip. It's the downside, about $3 off the lows.
We did not clear 130-minute bar inside value, D. Not one.
I mean, in my method, that's all I require, because especially if the value area is not massive, by the time you wait for that second 30-minute candle, you've already missed half of the move. You know, markets might have been a bit different back in the 80s when the first original rules were being formed.
Back in the 80s.
So that's why I had to modify some. Well, that's when they created it. Peter came out with it in 1985 or something, and then Jim kind of popularized it.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we have some different market states and algorithms and everything that's changed the market somewhat. So yeah, every time I would wait for the second candle, I'd be like, well, it's done now. So I started to modify that. So I only require one 30-minute close, and then I give it a go. You know, I monitor it, obviously, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I bail early. But a lot of the times it will work. So you kind of front run a value acceptance with that first candle.
So Pete Stottlemyre, was an acquaintance of my dad's, because my dad was on the grain floor. So was Peter. And, you know, my dad, I think I was in 7th grade. So we're looking at 1976, 1977. And my dad says, hey, there's a guy at work that's got a new way of looking at markets. And he tried to, sit me down as a 7th grader and start talking about charts, and started talking about this new way that this guy was looking at markets. So Peter was using that theory of market profile long before the 80s. I mean, we're talking 70s.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he came out with a concept at that point, but presumably there's a lot of research that goes into it before you actually release the methodology out there. I mean, we took probably about 5-6 years before I was like, yeah, this is the Market Stalkers method. And that's because it takes time to test the hypothesis, to see how often these things happen. And I can't imagine that back then we had very sophisticated back testing that we have these days. So it must have taken him a number of years. But I mean, it's an amazing way to look at the distribution curves, the auction process. It just makes everything so objective. It really helps, especially when some of the other more traditional ways of looking at the market are not giving you clear clues. So it must have been revolutionary. I mean, I know when I first heard about it, I was like, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like it came. Markets and Market Logic came out in January of 1986. Yeah. That's what I'm finding here on screen on the internet.
Yeah.
That may be right. Because Mind Over Markets came out in 90. I remember when it came out, I was like, it just came out, and that's when my buddy told me about it and gave me his copy to read for one night. And then I bought it the next day.
Hey guys, we got
based our
Rob just sent a little data back from those levels we got. We're in a trade. We're right in the zone of a trade setup right now from 710 to 720 in the NASDAQ. We got a consensus of 3 longs and 1 short, total of 4 trade submissions right in this area now between 10 and 20 in the NASDAQ. What do you say we pull the chat and say, ask what they think about taking a long position here in the NASDAQ right now?
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm just here to execute. I'm here to execute.
710, 720.
A lot of no's coming back. Nope.
Nope.
A lot of no's. Okay, so chat says hold off. Okay. Maybe we get a poll in here, so let's get something a little bit more quantitative.
I think Isaac Rivera was in the chat earlier, so I would like to hear what his thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
No longs. I think it's crazy.
No longs.
Short.
Everyone's saying
all right,
short.
trades off.
And even get the poll.
You know what, guys? Yeah, you know what, guys? It's trading, man. Not every time the levels line up. This is trading. We're not forcing trades here. We got three submissions out of 142. What do we got here in the ES?
I'm thinking, well,
we got 5. All right, we can go switch over to the ES. Well,
do we have some data for the ES?
We got some data for the ES. We got 5.
We're already halfway.
We're breaking hard, so that long would have gotten stopped. Good call to the chat for not getting in that one.
We're already halfway through value, so this is done now.
We got 5 submissions saying get long at 510. 5 submissions saying get short at 510 in the S&Ps. Huh.
Where am I missing this?
Slack.
There's also a couple calls for the longs around between 5100 and 5105 in the ES. We're right there now. Trading 05 half at the moment.
04 half is point of control. But I think, well, in my humble opinion, I don't think that we really should be looking for longs until we reach 5094, 5095 value low from yesterday. We did just trade to the point of control from yesterday, which is 5104 half, which is that level, which, it could trade. It could be right. But if we're in value area acceptance, the odds are we're going to get down to 5094, 5095 in that area.
Should be some stops just beneath 5100s here in the S&Ps. I got 10 lot queued up in the S&Ps.
For a long? Where at?
I'll see this pullback. If we can see some stops around 94s, 96s. I don't have an exact entry. I mean, we are at that level right now, but I do want to see if we...
Seen some more weakness coming in the NASDAQ, too. There's some sellers stepping in.
Unfortunately, this is part of the discretion of entering these house account trades. There needs to be a little bit of wiggle room in terms of execution. I'm not an algorithm. I'm not a robot. I'm getting these levels fed to me in real time with my trusted, all these trusted teammates here. So there's going to be a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, this is how we're going to do it.
50, around 95, you said, Andre?
95. Now, I want to see if we can get a pull beneath 5100s. That is true, Dolby. Okay. The clone.
I got a pull. I got a pull going in. There it is.
You did it.
All right.
Nice. Long 50.
Is that your first poll, Hogue?
Well done, John.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hogue's first poll. Everybody votes. Let's do it.
I think I used to do it during Make Hogue Money, but so it's been a while.
Yeah, we do see some confluence there too, John. We got 3 submissions, about 5 submissions at between 5095 and 5100. So we got about 5 longs there. Another 5 longs, 5105 to 5095. So we're seeing some longs sentiment here. I'm gonna vote yes, and we still got 50-50 in the poll. All right.
Right, I'm trying to short in gold because we got up to that 2340. I'm still on micros because of the ranges, but I am using just like $105 to risk on this.
We came all the way back up there.
Yeah. I did try a little short earlier, so I'm down like 111 from that. So nothing major. But if this one decides to go back down and my hypothesis of a range-bound day is correct, then I'm probably looking at about a 500 profit margin on this one, even though it's micros.
Got it.
We'll see.
Got Isaac in the chat here saying long 50-98 half. I think we're all kind of seeing the same thing there, Isaac. Take a look at the poll here.
So here's
50-50. 50-50 is the way to take this. This is a lot of conviction going on. All right, we're still selling off here in the S&Ps.
Yep. Still
we do
seeing
have
some more
some
weakness.
heat maps to show too of the submissions people had.
Please.
We collected from the
Please,
chat.
Yeah, do it.
Show them what we're looking at here.
So here's the NQ, and you see the different levels. On the left column, that is long. The right column is short, and then grouped by 10-point increments there where people were. So, for instance, there are 4 people who wanted to go long between 17,800 and 17,810. Now, let's take a look. We have one for the ES too. This is perfect. We have the heat map is.
What do we got? What are you looking at, Jack? What's so funny? What are you laughing at?
What I was chuckling at is that the highest density on the heat map is between 5105 and 5110, with 5 submissions wanting to go long and 5 wanting to go short. So,
So what would you do if you were me? What would you do if you were me? Guess you're not. You're not. It's not your problem.
Yeah, I don't want those problems, Andre.
50-50 in that poll, guys. 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of 50.
So what do you do? Just keep sitting on your hands?
You're damn right I'm going to keep sitting on my hands.
Yeah.
There's no conviction one way or another. I'm here to execute. I'm not here to use discretion. I got 5 saying do it, 5 saying don't, 50% saying do it, 50% saying don't.
Yep.
I do nothing.
Dee, what did you think of that opportunity to take a long down there, low value in the S&Ps?
Well, we're going against the value acceptance possibility. So let me just drag that up again.
We were talking about right around 50.95 to look for that long.
I mean, is it a relevant level? It's where we did the distribution at edge of the distribution yesterday,
right?
V-shaped day.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Isaac.
Problem is some stats that I've collated over the value acceptances is that once it accepts value, it usually runs all the way through it and keeps going until it's somewhere more favorably in a swing extreme. So it doesn't always stop, but obviously it depends on the underlying trend too. And I think the trend is more down than anything, even though it could be a little bit mixed at this point. So this was a nice rally back up. So, do we have enough juice to keep going up? Well, it's an equity index. There's always that possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is if we end this TPO and we leave single prints, that means the auction downwards is very strong.
It's succeeding.
And going against that, so it's succeeding. It's doing pretty well. So we're talking going against single prints, going against value area, going against the sell-off that we've seen. I'm not too keen on longs, I'm going to be honest. But again, I don't trade EF this time of the day, so, take it with a pinch of salt.
Right.
Just give you a readout of what I'm seeing on the profile and all the other stuff that we've got going on right now. And we are right at point of control, TPO point of control, which is middle of the distribution curve, where most of yesterday's business happened. It's not exactly a swing extreme. So to me, it's not a,
We do have, 51.10, 51.15. There is somebody looking for a short there. Is this something that we can maybe think about doing in the house account? So if we do get
what would the trade be?
We could call it let's call it 51.12 because that's high of value from yesterday, and if we get, but then we run into the idea that this could end up being a failed downside auction.
I'd love to, John, but the submissions are saying we just sit on our hands at the time being.
Sit on our hands. All right.
That's just, I'm just looking at the data, just looking at what the submissions are, looking at what the poll says. Deanna, so right now, would love to execute a house account trade. Seems like we need a lot of things to be lined up just so in order to pull the trigger, and we'll wait for it. We'll wait accordingly.
All right, I'm out of that trade is pushing higher.
Gold. Yeah. I was kind of surprised it came all the way back up there.
I wasn't that surprised, but I was just looking at the value acceptance. We did have that earlier, so that was that. This is why I used a very small amount of risk here. I just got to test the hypothesis. You don't want to get smacked on the nose if you're just testing things out. You want to pay a bit of money for some information, because we always have heightened awareness when we have a position on. It is not always obvious if you're not in a position. We have the Asia high right around this level. That is the next orientation point, but we do have that value acceptance that could keep pushing up.
Mm-hmm.
However, because it was a swing extreme, I was like, let's try that hypothesis of a range-bound day, because we already built some structure here. And it could still happen from a higher level as long as this Asia high doesn't give us any reversals. Sorry, it could happen if Asia high gives us a reversal, but if it doesn't, then the value acceptance and a continued move higher is on the cards as well. But I'm still more short biased because of what's happening on the daily chart in gold. Because if you look at it, how it just came off the highs, that speaks of trend exhaustion. So I will be going against that. And that's never really the best idea, statistically.
Well, we're chopping around the 5100s here, S&Ps. Vito Kigo says, ES going to break 5100s. Yeah, thinking about maybe taking along. Just we don't have the levels. We don't have the confluence of consensus to actually pull the trigger. That's what makes this team trading thing a bit tricky. We're never going to get a consensus. So eventually someone's going to have to pull the trigger based on the information they have in real time. So we're working this out. For the time being, it just doesn't seem we're going to get our levels to line up.
Yeah, we'll get this process nailed down soon enough.
Yeah, we will. We will. Unfortunately, the executor, there has to be a bit of discretion when it comes to executing this, because more or less, you're going to get 50-50 on both. At pretty much every damn level you're going to get is going to be 50-50. Should you do the trade? Yes. Should you do it? No.
Yeah, that's something we should
sell
track.
it. 5100s, buy it. So,
that's
kind of where we're stuck. We're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So eventually the executor does have to use some discretion as to final decision maker, if you will. But here we are. So,
if we ever actually want to put a trade on, we could talk ourselves out of anything sitting here all day.
Of course.
But, eventually we're just going to have to pull the trigger.
No, we sure can. So here we are. Well, we're just going to watch. Just going to keep watching. Maybe watch some more after that. Hopefully get some more. Maybe we get some sort of level here beneath 5100s. I know Isaac liked the longs from 50.98. Then again, we also had 5. All right, cool. Jack, hit us with some stats while we chop around here at the 5100 level.
Well, I ain't no stat man, but JD is.
Who's the stat? Oh, who's the stat man? Who we got? Bring us.
Give me 1 second. I got to pull up a dashboard real quick.
Sorry, JD. He's got a lot of things getting flown around right now. Markets, man, I'll tell you what, they're tricky.
All right.
I'll give it
special counsel.
Oh, go ahead.
What's going on? I would love. I told you I'd love to, man.
All right. It's quiet. James, you want to pull up those hot streaks?
There you go.
We got them. There they are. Yeah. No change in the list again today. All traders have extended their hot streaks for another day. Arian and James both at 28 days. Faye is right behind him with 25 days. Esteban 21, and Brian. Brian barely snuck through yesterday. After fees, Brian took home $1 in profits. The usual.
Green is green.
Yep.
Yes, right.
Green is green. All right. Next up, let's look at the yesterday's best live funded P&Ls. Let me pull up that dashboard real quick. All right. Dakota tops the list again. 2 days in a row, Dakota's at the top. Picked up $10,300 trade in the NASDAQ and the Nikkei. Gives them a 2-day running total of, where is it? 2-day running total of $21,500 for Dakota. Good start to the week for Coach
Nice.
DBA.
Wow.
Our
He's
boy
up today.
Nick
I
T.
think he's up today too.
Oh, is he? I didn't see the update. I'll have to double check on that. Who's next? Nick T, our boy. 5,500 trading the NASDAQ. David T, up 3,100 trading the British Pound. CME product code for the British Pound is 6B. B as in boy, if you are interested in getting into currency futures. All right. David A carved up the NASDAQ for a solid $2,400 in profits. And Corey had a nice day trading the S&P, raking in about $2,400.
Well done.
All right. I think Coach Robert's going to jump in for a few minutes and talk about some of these house account levels that have been submitted.
Oh.
Then I'll be back in a little bit with the top 10 list. How's that sound?
Thank you. Awesome.
Sounds good.
All right, Robert, jump on in whenever you want. We're still chopping on these 5100s in S&Ps.
I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, I'm back. All right, D, just you and I right now.
Yeah.
What was that trade you were in? I'm sorry. I'm in the hyper focus on this house account thing. What's how you been trading over there?
All right, so I am trying the other side, one of my third hypos, continued sustained auction into the average session range high. Because right now, bulls are just taking over. Let's see whether this hypo works. And again, not risking much. This is all quite unclear at the moment, so I'm just going with whatever is on the profile. So I'm expecting to see more push to the upside now. Oh, what happened there? Hold on, my position just disappeared.
What happened? Uh-oh.
No. I have no idea.
Nick T says today's like watching a car crash in slow motion with the downside. Oh, no.
So now I don't know whether I'm still in or not. Oh, no. Hold on.
Oh, no.
What happened there?
Dolby.
Nope. Okay, I'm going to have to try that again because
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. The position just disappeared. I'm nowhere near my daily loss limit either, so...
okay. Seen a big bid here on the 5100s in the S&Ps, about 400 lots sitting on that bid. It's pretty sizable, all things considered. Hey, Robert, you there?
I am here. I am back. How we doing? How we doing?
Amazing. Hit me with the level.
Hit you with the levels. Yeah, we're gonna talk.
Hit me with some conviction.
Had to go do some stuff there. We're not gonna do any pulled pork this morning, but we gotta slice some bacon and cut up some ribeyes. So I can get you up with that one. We're gonna get the show on the road. Yeah, if there's a plan, if there's a level coming out, we'll hit it right out. First of all, thanks for the chat for everybody that submitted this. All that information in there. The levels that we got, super good. We ended up with like 148 submissions, and it just threw in the AI. It took a little bit because I kind of crunched it a little bit. I didn't do the work; it's just programmed. But the AI failed a couple times. It's ChatGPT. That's what happens when you give it a whole bunch of instructions and sorting and making graphs out of it. Sometimes it'll break. I had to do it 3 times on NQ and twice on ES. So apologize for the delay. I hope we didn't miss anything. But hey, there's another train coming. Deanna, good to see you again. We just talked yesterday.
Good to see you. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, here we go. Go to sleep. Get up. Hey, how you doing? All right, so let's see what we have. I'm just going to talk through a couple of things. And if you see anything else, cut me off. I'm going to kind of take off my funky chart for a minute here, unless we want to see it. Let's take a poll. Let's just throw it in. Let's throw it for the group. We don't need a poll, but put in the chat. Do you want to see these messed up looking candles at Renko's and stuff, or do you want me to see a time chart? I can trade off of either one of them. I just want to do something different. So go ahead. Time or Renko. Let's call that, and we'll set it up either way. The two levels I did plot last night did get hit on the overnight. You can see the green at the top, and I would call that level out. It was a zone from 17,785 in the NASDAQ to 17,811. As long as I broke over the overnight high, I was expecting it to go to that zone, which happens to be the April's support resistance line. And it hit it like just a couple of points away, and that's not very far in the NQ. Then after it broke off the high, and it made a little pivot down. So the high up here, roughly, these are Renko, so a little bit off, but roughly around 17,790, and the low roughly 17,720. After it made this little drawing here, down and back up like this, made that V, I said, well, if you break below the level right here, which is that 17,720-ish, if it goes below there, I would expect it to hit my zone below here, which is 17,702. This is 17,692. It doesn't mean it's going to go through. I'm just targeting that. So you basically, if you know me, I'm just looking for 10, 15 point moves here and there. And we're going to load this sucker up and we'll see it with 5, 10, 15, 20 contracts that the hell we want to put on here. So, Andre, we are getting ready. Let's take a look and see what else we have. That is for the NQ.
Hit me with anything.
Yeah.
Hit me with anything.
Well, we're going to do a consensus here. Somebody asked if I was vegan. No. You haven't been
Definitely
here long,
not.
have you, Omar?
Exactly.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Do we want to continue this NQ push down? It's currently 17,688. Yesterday's high, 17,667, and yesterday's close 658. So we have about a 20-point range in the NQ between, let's just call it 656 and 666. That's 10 points. We have a range right down there. That's between the high of yesterday and the close of yesterday. It's a little bigger so we can see it. Do we think we are going to continue to push down to that area, and why? Andre, what do you say? And then Deanna, will come on to you because you got some VWAP stuff happening too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm saying we get long down here. I just need some. We need some conviction in our levels. We got 5 staying short, 5 staying long, and we're about to break beneath these 5100s. Would love to get long. Chat said 50-50. D said get short. John said get long. The level said 5 short, 5 long. So basically, the process says I got to sit on my hands.
The process says sit in your hands. I'm going to practice count. I'm going to take a short with 5 contracts. I'm going to practice account.
Lovely. Love to.
We're going to get some action here. I was on a trade yesterday afternoon, and they said, "Why are you taking the trade?" I said, "Because I'm bored." So do not do that. And it's not because I'm bored right now. We have a hypothesis. I think it's going to be coming down to the yesterday's high area. Roughly, I have the target 17,665. And we're going to risk actually a little bit more on this. We're going to risk it 17,688. If it goes up against us, I should have checked my settings first. I hope I don't stop out with a personal loss limit of 1,000. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, house account looks like we're sitting on our hands. I'm in 100% agreement with that. Deanna, do you agree with that? Let's chat. We got to sit on our hands.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
If there's no consensus.
Okay, I'm closing that trade. I just closed out that trade at $550 profit, slippage of 436. That is how it's done. If I was and it just hit my target right there. I'm not being impatient. That's exactly what we're looking to do. We just talk through it. Mm-hmm. I know I'm talking quick, but we want to get the show rolling. We want to talk these markets up and talk them down and talk through these trades. And with that, sip of coffee. Good morning, everyone.
One cup of Joe. We are selling off.
We are selling
off. So to the 5 that said get short, good on you. To the 5 that said get long, oof, we're taking some heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put the short on again. 5 contracts. I'm in a practice account. Yep. Deanna, what you talking? I'm talking over you. What are your thoughts on this, please?
I mean, I said that I'm not happy about a long because we're going against the value acceptance. And then if we left the C period single prints on the TPO profile, that means the auction was a success to the downside. So longs were not on the cards until we can at least take that out. That didn't happen, and it just pushed straight down. So that's why I was like, because I've seen this happen many times in the past. So I've just learned not to go against certain clues that I can see. Similarly, we are seeing an opposing trade in gold, which I'm actually in on right now. I'm only on 5 micros. I mean, I say only, but I'm still risking like 275 on this because the ranges are like absolutely insane. So here's my Topstep X. So I tried a couple of shorts before, which is why I was down a couple $100, nothing major. And now we're seeing a similar trade play out in gold, only to the opposite side. So we have the value acceptance up rather than ES having the value acceptance to the downside. And because of that, I got involved in a long. Then my trade disappeared, so I don't know what happened. So I actually entered at a slightly worse price. My initial entry was around 23.42 or something. And then that just, I don't know, it just kind of vanished. So I re-entered, and now I am sitting on a bit of profit of about, well, coming up to about 288, $300. I'm going to keep that going because I don't look for small base hits, especially not when we have the auction in the same direction. So I'm going to try and ride this out for a while. Usually these trades that I call them the post-NY cut trades. If you guys look at financialjuice.com, you will see something like FX Live posting the option expiries in Forex markets for that day. Gold has a very strong correlation with Aussie dollar. So every time you have 10 a.m. Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Chicago time, you get a huge influx in volume, which can bring about either a pop or a reversal. Now you have to obviously follow clues to see which of those is going to happen. See if this file, obviously if it starts to aggressively sell off, I'm going to close the trade. So right now there's nothing else for me to do. I'm just waiting, following what's going on, sitting on my hands, not over managing. So we found an entry, found a trade, and now we wait. That's the whole point of this process. Most of my trades will be anywhere from about 30 minutes up to about a couple of hours long. So I don't know whether I'm going to be booking profits on there. If I don't, you guys can get maybe an update of how this happened and what I did with it later on. But yeah, I mean, this is for now looking like a nice follow through to the value acceptance that we had very early on in gold, already in the first half an hour, which I don't really like, and I don't really trade during the first hour anyway. So yeah, I just look for the right day, I look for the right clues, and then I just let the trade play out. And I always look for those slightly larger risk reward setups, which means I don't need a super high accuracy, even though at times I will have a pretty high accuracy as well, but that's not realistic. So if you take all of the trades through good times, bad times, you're probably looking at about 43% accuracy, and that means that I have to keep at least 2 to 1 on my side. But usually I aim for about 3 to 1, 4 to 1 if I see the type of a day that is conducive for that kind of expansion of the profit targets. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. If I go to my charting platform.
We're getting a little feedback loop or something there. A little distortion.
Little distortion. Entered the void.
We're in the matrix. We're in the matrix. Selling off right now in the S&Ps. So for the 5 that said get long, we're taking some heat. The 5 that said get short. Yeah.
So this is exactly the same trade, is my point. So ES is selling off, gold is going up.
Right.
We've seen risk-off sentiment that has been playing out on quite a lot of the days because of the Middle East conflict. So effectively, this is the same trade, only I'm using a different product to express my position in the market.
If I can, if you guys want to go to my charts, I can do. I think this platform does a really clear job of kind of explaining what Dee was talking about with the value acceptance. So as soon as we can get on my charts here, okay. This was yesterday's regular trading hour range, right? So we opened above range, we kind of balanced above value, and when we started to show signs of acceptance inside value from yesterday, that kind of gave us the idea for a potential short. We were kind of looking at this low here as rejection of value from yesterday, but when we started extending the range and it kind of accelerating to the downside, now the value area special situation play is on. It just now traded to lower values, so the value area special situation play is over. does this make this a potential long and low of value from yesterday? It balanced here yesterday. There may be a potential for a long, and we want to see some sort of structure begin to form in the daytime frame. But we did leave single TPOs from the IB low at 51.10 half, and we've got those single TPOs now down to 51.005. We've completed the value area special situation play. If we did take that short, this would be our exit right at value low, and we've taken a little bit of a bounce off of that. So, while we were thinking about a long here, it would be a cheap trade. Once we started extending below that, that's kind of telling us we're probably accepting value. The move is to the other extreme of value, which it basically went almost to the tick. So that's really a good, clear explanation of the value area special situation play. Once we accept the previous day's value, odds are it's going to go to the other extreme, which it just did. So that's kind of a forensic look at that opportunity. The nuance was saying, yeah, you were probably going to check low value from yesterday, and we did.
Yeah.
All right. That was a nice little breakdown. I'm just going to talk. Can you all hear me out there and make sure I switch microphones? Okay. You thought you could get rid of me, huh, Jack? I know you said you muted my ass. We're going to switch microphones and change it in the back end, and I'm back.
It sounded like you were taking off in a flying saucer or something, Robert.
That's so weird. I got this really beautiful Yeti microphone that I've been using here, and it's on my desk. When the PC is on the floor, it's a hardwood floor, so I moved it onto the carpet, and James said it got worse. So I don't know. We just switched microphones. I'll come back to this. We'll be good.
So we'll figure it out afterwards.
Sounds good. But we're back. Markets are still selling off. NQ is still selling off over here. I heard some of that. I'm going to take a switch over to ES, and we're going to take a look around that. Darling, see if we can have get a house account trade going on here. We're not going to force it, but if there's something there, we'll get a consensus and we'll go for it.
Yeah, Okay, so Robert, let's talk about what does a consensus look like exactly? Because I got a hunch that we'll never get anything more than 55-45, 45-55. Anything over 60-40 would be shocking. From what does consensus look like? What would a consensus look like? I'm being serious.
I know you're being serious. Yeah.
We're handcuffed right now. We're handcuffed. We're handcuffed right now.
Yeah, it's gonna see what makes the most sense. And as we saw when I was doing the AI stuff, just compiling all the data, we saw that the ES had the same level, the same amount of traders, both exactly. I think it was 5 traders, all agreed on the same level, and there were 5 long and 5 short at the same level. So that's what happens in trading. If we watch the tilt for any length of time, we see that. We see like, oh my God, look at this. We have the NQ. It's going up, and it's 52-48, for long to short. We see that all the time. It's like welcome to trading. So what we're talking about for the house account, we're going to get a consensus for the couple of pros on the screen and say, hey, we're looking at this. It's matching our rules. It's matching our criteria, like Hoag's opening range trade. We'd see that every morning. This is where it is. We have a gap up. We have orders coming in. We're looking for a retrace back up. It's back opening in value, and he talks about it much better than I do. But it looks like it's going to be long on the opening range. 1 minute later, we are in a trade, and we all agreed on that. And that's just what we're doing right now. And I think we're all in agreement for at least right this second. We get to sit on our hands, and that's also part of trading. So I'm going to bounce around a few different areas. And it's not like we're looking to want to trade, but if something's moving and I'm not looking at it, or we are not looking at it, we won't see it. So I'm just going to fly through a couple of other instruments, gold, oil. Let's take a look at some of the other ones. Let me put this on a regular chart so everybody, I'll just like a 5 minutes so everybody can see what we'll look at the same thing here. All right, I just looked at the ES, and I'm going to go to 15 minutes so we get a better view of things here. So I'm on the ES chart. I'm on 15 minute, and it looks like it's about 3 days back. I'm going to do a quick little line draw stuff. I have a high marked out over here, and I have the current level. I say a high, I say over here, meaning 50.75, and I'm marking it to the next resistance point, 50.90, called 50.95. So 75 to 95. This is a 20-point range, and we're right at the top of that. So now we get to make a decision and get to talk about this. Do we think we are going to break below 50.95 somewhere through this area, target 3, 4, 5 points, or 10 points for that matter? and go down towards the 50-75 area. I personally don't think it's going to go that far down. I don't think the ES will go to 50-75. Just because it's a support area 2 days ago doesn't mean it's going to go there. The second half of this is we already had a overnight high of 51.29-ish, and we bounced off 51.24-ish. And we've already dropped down. It's 94, but we've already dropped down 30 points on the ES. Now, what does it usually move like? I don't trade the ES, so I'm going to throw it back to you guys that know more about the ES. Is this move too far down, and are we going to bounce off this resistance area of 50.94, or do we think we're going to go down a few more points? And we'll come to that consensus between us. We'll hit the chat up. It's a group effort and say, what do we think? I saw Dakota's in the chat earlier. Eddie's in the chat earlier. He's in there now. So let's put the consensus out there right now. 50.95. Are we going to be going below there, or are we going to reject off of this potential support level and pull back up a little bit? What do we think? We have Hogue and Andre. So will you guys take the floor in that? And let's go with 50.95 in the ES. We going up or down, and for how far?
Oh, that's not for me to say. I'm simply here to execute. I'll lean on our trusted traders like John D in the chat here. We did take that poll, and it literally came back 50-50. Unfortunately, maybe we can dip another toe in the water and see what the temperature is this time around. But last time we did it was 50-50, so that was a set in our hands. John, what are we looking at here in terms of levels? We are at the lows here in the S&Ps. You know, it kind of feels, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of feels like we're trying to force this trade a little bit. And we're not letting the market come to us, so to speak, because we are selling off right now, 50.93s. So, but you know, screw it. Let's force it. Let's do it.
Well, hold on. You know, Robert, that 50.95 level. Okay, I mean, I've got value low from yesterday at 50.94. Okay, so our value area special situation play is pretty much over. However, there are some weaknesses in structure below in yesterday's profile. We've got single TPOs here from 50.92 even down to 50.89 even. So if I'm going to start looking for longs, number one, we're one-time framing lower. We're putting in lower highs and lower lows. As JD and I talked about earlier, we weren't all that impressed with this 2-day rally that we've had because it cut off volume and it was lower open interest. So technically this morning we should have been looking for shorts, which we were doing earlier. And you know, it is proving to be successful. So, you know, in your zone down there, where was that zone again? It was like 50.95 to 50.85.
50.75, and that was a high of 2 days back. That's a gap between those two, because once we broke through, we kept going. Yeah, so it's 50.75 to 50.95. I just threw two volume profiles on as well, so keep going, John. I'm going to load up my chart with a few more things.
Okay, so yeah, the high from the regular trading hour high from Monday was 50.76.75, basically 50.75, right? So we've got a 20-point gap in there that we could easily fill because there's weaknesses in structure from that move up yesterday. Do I like a long here? If only because it's the low of value from yesterday, and it's where the market rotated, and that low of value from yesterday again is 50.94. The high of value 51.12.75. Once we accepted it, the market did what we thought it would do. It would move that down to the low of value. But in the current market state, I'm not a big fan of trying to front edge along in that zone. I want to see it go into that zone, maybe even get to the other side of that zone to limit risk. And again, the other side of that zone being 50.76.75, 50.75. You know, everything is a zone, right? So I'd rather, if I were going to be looking for longs, have that gap kind of filled and then start to see some sort of structure to lean on to help me limit risk if I were looking for longs. At this juncture, I'm not, because you know we've got a downside auction in the day time frame that really began at the IB low today, 51.10 even. And once we started, you know, kind of leaving that initial balance, again 50.10 even, though the initial balance low, and showing acceptance of value, you know, the trade is to the low of value, which is again 50.94 and a quarter, 50.90, 50. Let's just call it 50.94. Okay, everything again is a zone. We're still sitting there. We've had a what was the term yesterday? We've had a deflated ball bounce. Okay, We're not doing the whole cat thing anymore. It's a
cat
deflated
things.
ball bounce. We're not getting any. We're not seeing any buyers coming in and bringing this market higher. So if we're going to be looking at that zone, Robert, that you're pointing out, I'd rather get a lot closer to the other extreme of it before I start looking for longs. Make sense?
I totally agree with you. And while if we can switch back to my charts, I want to show you something. Then I want to get a feedback from Deanna here because I am short. I took a short right at that zone. I am in a 150K combine. I didn't think I had a combine laying around, but I do have one that's like maybe $2,000 away from lose. I play with this stuff all the time. When I'm coding and I'm doing crap back here, I just throw stuff up. So none of this stuff is real. You want to see my real account? I'll show you. But this year, we're going to go short. We are short. We are short at 5094 in the ES. Okay. And what I did on my chart here, John, it's going to be, I think it's going to work right in with what you were saying. I looked back 4 days and I put 4 volume profiles on today from the start of the Asia last night. And then the day before starting of the Asia, day before that and day before that. So 4 days back, I started the Asia open and went all the way to the current time right now. But then I went back yesterday, the day before and day before that, and I only plotted those days point of control so we can see. And I know you love point of control just like I do. And we have naked one down here at 50.30. That's way down there. But the last 3 days, the point of control is like 3 points away from each other. The last 3 days, if we go from the Asian market 3 days ago, today, yesterday, and the day before, and we go all the way from when it started till right now, they're all just within a couple of points of it. 2 of them are right on top of each other. That tells us consolidation, right? So we're not going to really go too far in any one direction. However, if we start dropping down like we're in this short right now, and we break down out of the zone area, we do have a naked point of control from 4 or 5 days ago, 50.30. And then the point of control for that day only is at 5,005. So we have a lot of room to the downside. And I'm going to stop for a second. John, you gave your information. Andre's got his finger on the trigger just in case we're going to jump on this short going down. And Deanna, what do you think about this? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've been in favor of shorts because the value acceptance short. Do I think this is a good area? Well, if I look at the volume profile on my chart, there is a low volume area just underneath here. Couple of problems with low volume areas. They can act as reversal points, but if the market slices through them, then your short is excellent because it means that the market usually goes through those areas pretty quickly. I have my levels of interest for a long much further down, although not as low as 50.35. I do have them at 50.64 because that's where the average daily range low is located. And then right underneath that, I have the average session range low as well, which is at 50.58, thereabouts. So that would be the area where I will be looking to take profits if this starts to run. So I don't really have a level here. There is a value low from yesterday, but I dislike value lows as reversal points because I found that value low, value high from the inside are really only highly statistically probable on inside days. Today we open outside of value. So to me, that's not matching up. But I like your short because usually I see the continuation past value. So that's why I like your trade there, Robert.
Thank you. And Hogue was in the same agreement on that. So I'm still short with this, and I'm liking this to begin with. But if it doesn't go my direction and it just kind of hangs around and starts to flip back, I'm just gonna get the hell out. If I make $50, I'll make $50, right? But I have a stop at 51.06. It's an eyeball stop. I am not doing any particular risk reward ratio here. All I do is I put the stop up far enough away to let the market have some fluctuation. This is ES. It's not going to fly up 50 points and take me out like the NQ does. So right now, I think we're looking pretty good. If this comes down a little bit further, we're at 50. Yeah, it's looking. We're up a little bit.
I like your stop.
Great.
I like your disaster stop because it's above the round number of 5,100. Whenever I'm doing a trade, I always try, if I can, to put my stop loss away from the round number. And that's exactly what you've done. Not only is it above 5,100, but it's also above 5,105. So I like it.
In the point of controls. Actually, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see if it plays
Good
out.
trade, Rob. Yeah, let's see if it plays out. Yeah.
John, what do you got for
That's
Delta?
all we can do right now.
Negative 6,400 in the S&Ps.
Thank you.
Whoop. That was not a fire drill, by the way. That was me.
NASDAQ negative 2,000. So here's, if we can go back on my chart here, there's something I want to show. So when the market becomes directional and you believe that the market is going to continue in that direction, just like Dee was saying, there's a low volume area here that between 50.92, let's call it 93 down to 50.88. That's a low volume area that could end up being somewhat supportive. If not, it should go through it relatively quickly. One of the things that I've been successful in getting into directional markets with is looking for the low volume nodes in the daytime frame. So you can see when we broke out of the IB here at 5110, we had a low volume node right at 5106.75. The next bar came up to 5105. That's 6 ticks from the low volume node. When we look at where we are now, we've got a volume bubble right here between 59.80 quarter and 50.93 half. 50.98 quarter, 50, or let's just call it 98 and 93. We've got a bubble there. So if we do get a pullback up, and I call them shoulders, in the upper side of this high volume node, between the high volume node and the low volume node, high volume node being, let's call it 94 half, and the low volume node being, let's call it 99 half, 99 even, 50.99, just call it that. If we can get up to that, this low volume node, the same way D is saying the low volume below price, it may be supportive from yesterday. It might be resistance for us to be able to get into a continuation move. So if we do get a pop, we might, you might think about looking to short at, let's call it 50.98 even. And if we use this low volume node, and again, that low volume area is from 98 half up to 10 even, right? D likes those 10 evens. Your stop has to be on the other side of that. We could look at like 50.10.03, 50.10.02 for a stop, because that's going to take out that low volume node. We don't want it to take out the low volume node above price if we want price to be going lower. Does that all make sense to you?
Makes sense. I just marked it on my chart, John. I want Deanna to chime in on this too. I don't want to take the whole show here, but I just marked it on my chart as you were talking. I put a caution level up there at 50.99 because we know if we get up there, we're going to be careful. If it comes up and heads over, we have point of controls from the last several days are right around 5105. That's probably going to be the junk, like call it a day. It doesn't have to go all the way to my stop, but once we get over this 50.99 level, we start breaking over 5100 and we see Delta coming in, we see buyers coming in, we're just going to close the trade. It just didn't work at that point in time. No need for me to lose $800 on this trade. I'll just cut it off early.
Right.
But let's see what happens.
Right.
It's pushing up now. This is all new to me. This is a 15-minute chart on ES. I've looked at this like a year ago. So Deanna, what do you say?
Just looking at Bookmap to see if I can find some other reason. Now, here's why you don't want to put your stops at round numbers. What you will find is blocks of orders around the round numbers. Now, we don't know whether these are new shorts or whether these are stops, so that's something that we can't actually know. But you don't want to put your stops right at the round numbers. So if we're going to get a continuation, I mean, there is a chance that we go up to test 5100s and then we smack back down. We have Euro close coming up in a minute, which always brings a bit of a wiggle in price. So we can't let that shake us out of the trade because those never last. It's literally just a knock-on effect from everybody in Europe closing off their positions. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm still liking the short, especially because it's being defended by this block of orders. So until they're still there and until we kind of run through them, the trade is still valid. So I like his stop loss placement. I like the direction. We are working with the profile. We might have another single print trail left behind in like a few seconds coming up, which would then mean we have a multiple single print trail, which is always a sign of a very strong directional day. Don't go against it.
What level is that? Is that the order block up there?
It's 5100 all the way up to about 5101 half, let's say.
Should we add? Should we add to our position? Should we add to our short position?
I don't like adding, at that level. So I can't. I can't.
What level? Wait, Robert, where are you getting your levels to add to this short? I'm not seeing the levels to add to this short, please.
I was listening to Deanna, what she was saying, about that 5100, 5101. I'm not saying add to it, so let me clear this up. I'm not saying we're adding to a losing trade. What I'm saying is we came back up, pulled back into it, almost like buying the dip, right? We're just shorting the push up here. So I personally don't like doing that. And if we have our crew here, consensus that says, we don't like doing that, and we're at that level now. We are. I say that level. We're at 50.98. I have a caution level marked at 50.99. Deanna just called that the London's closing soon, so we're gonna get a little pop there. Don't get shaken out. So the question is, do we want to add a short at 50? Awesome. That was that little pop. Do we want to add a short at right around now, 5100 to here, and then just if it still doesn't come back down, just get the hell out, or do we just want to be patient and let this one lot run?
So we went right to the low volume node we were just talking about, Robert.
Perfect.
The low volume node was 50.99. That was your caution level there.
Correct. Do we want to add to our short position? Let's take the on-screen census, yay or nay, and we'll ask the chat.
I'll say no due to the delta.
Okay.
I'll say no too.
Okay, John?
I'll say no because it is kind of eating through that low volume node.
I agree, and we have 4 of us on screen right now, TopstepTV, agreeing we are not adding to this trade at 50.99. We're going to let it go. We'll ask the chat. Looks like the chat is running out and saying no, no, no. I am in 100% agreement. Yeah, we are all. Yep. This is a consensus trade that we're talking about, doing this group thing. Now, my stop is like Deanna said. I'm not at 5100. That's just nothing. I'm not going to 5105. I want to go over it. I'm at 5106. It's 0.75. I don't know, 5107 if you want to make a round number, doesn't matter. So that's where I'm putting on my stop. I'm not going to let it go that far. We're going to take a look at this. If it turns around and say, hey, we get delta coming up, we have buyers coming in, we're making signal prints up, we're going to take it out, right?
Don't get out yet.
No, not yet, but I don't have to let it. I have a fail safe. I have a catastrophic stop at 5107.
Right.
Okay, for this short. I'm not going to let it go there. There's no need. I mean, that's 7 points away. I'm not going to let it go that far against me. Right, but I don't want it to pop up like when London closed. If it popped up 2, 3, 4 points, I don't want to get stopped out. So,
I mean, technically, we still have single TPOs here. There's just a couple of them, but they're still there, and we're eating through that low volume node, which makes me nervous. But I mean, technically, it's still valid for now.
Okay. I'm going to extend the volume profile in my charts over to the next 15-minute candle. Looks like they're all the same. So let's I'm just going to extend them over. And this is the volume profile right now is an indicator that we add to the chart. We won't have the main one that like automatically updates isn't in Topstep X yet. So we just kind of, when we put this on there, I just have to keep dragging it over to the right once the candle closes, and we'll go from there.
You know, we're at that big round number.
We're still exactly. Now we'll see what happens, right? So are we in agreement, the 4 of us, that says if we get out of this number and we keep pushing up, we're just going to close it, get the hell out of this trade, call it a loss, and wait for the next one. We don't have to let this thing go against us. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
All right, back up to 5100s here.
Just close out the single TPOs.
Okay. Thanks, John. Look at Deanna. How's Bookmap looking up in that consolidation area up there? Once we get through it,
it's still there.
Then if we get good. If it disappears and we get through it, we start pushing high, we're just going to get out and call it a loss. It looks like it's pushing up, but I'm not going to get scared out of this. And I'll let you talk to me and see how that works.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it. For now, it's not going through it. It touched 5100, and we are getting some sellers coming in.
Awesome. Great. I'm going to do something really funky here. I'm going to split my window on my Topstep X, and I'm actually going to change the right the right chart to NQ. Let's get crazy.
So the market has kind of closed up that low volume node we were discussing trading short against. And it's really only a couple of ticks now, and it's just above that 5100. It's like 5101, 5101 and a quarter. That's how small that the low volume node has gotten, but it's still a low volume node. And there it goes.
Okay, so the orders have disappeared. Yeah.
Should be closed.
Disappeared now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be closed. Everybody should be close our short. Chat. Everybody on screen.
I think.
Okay,
yes.
I'm out. Close it. 377 loss. That's okay. We came to consensus. We had an agreement. We had our levels on our trade, and such as trading, sometimes you take a loss. And we did it here. We're all we're doing. We're just
a lot of the
talking
levels
through
I
this
was
whole
seeing.
thing.
A lot of the levels I was seeing was trying to get long around 50.95. Those big levels there. Isaac Rivera in the chat, one of our trusted traders in there. Dakota as well. Thought we could have probably possibly
Value
taken
low.
long there. Value low. Thank you, John. 50.95 was kind of the entry we were looking to get. Couldn't get the confluence. Couldn't get consensus. So yeah, we that's why we sat on our hands, I guess. But 50.95 is value low. Isaac Rivera and the heat map. We had that level. We had that entry, but we just could not pull the trigger, which is okay. That is trading. That's how you do it. Isaac Rivera, we did not take your ES long. We did not. Still working through the process here. We are trying to fine tune this. Unfortunately, we're just working through it right now. We got there. We tried to. But yeah, Robert, I saw what you saw. Sometimes we got to force a trade every now and then. But yeah, we'll try.
I wouldn't even say that was forced on it because I wouldn't. I'll say we didn't really force it. We were looking around to see if something was moving, and then when we saw that gap, we saw the single TPOs. Deanna chimed in, looked at book maps, saw the volume areas. We all literally said. We took our on-screen poll, 4 of us. Yeah, we're all in agreement for short. We were all in agreement that we're not going to add to this trade when it came back into an area, right around the 5100. And then we agreed to get out because it looked like it was pushing higher and going up. It's okay. I mean, this could continue, right? We don't know. I don't know what the hell's going to happen in this thing. It could go, but I don't know. This wasn't a guess. And I want to be clear that we didn't just guess. We just looked at it, broke it down, switched instruments, switched time frames, talked through it, and I don't know. $370 loss didn't kill anybody. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
No. House account trades going to be 10, 15 left. Obviously, the gains and losses are going to be a little bit more magnified, which is okay. Okay. Well, we do have the house account up right now. We are looking for levels. We are chopping around 5100. So we got about 13, 16 minutes left here in fast markets. We do have some top 10s, I believe. We can pull those. JD, I don't know if you're there or not. I've been watching this trade, shopping around here.
Yeah, I am still here.
What's up, JD? Hey, man, shout out on that VWAP trade, man. That was good stuff.
Hey, cool.
Shout out to that.
All right, let's take a look at our XFA P&Ls from yesterday.
Okay.
All right, there they are. Hang on, I can't see them. All right, here we go. Another fresh list of names for our XFA traders yesterday. We got Nikolai pulled in close to 15 grand trading the NASDAQ. Earl with 11,000 trading NASDAQ. Thaddeus is trading both the NASDAQ and the Nikkei for $9,500. He must be a slow markets watcher. Emmy, $9,500 trading the NASDAQ. And Kobe with 8,900 also trading the NASDAQ. A lot of NQ traders out there. All right, let's take a look at our top 10 list now. Here is the bottom half.
All right.
Okay, there's only one change on this end of the list today from yesterday. Our boy Isaac is back on the leaderboard. You see Isaac in the chat right now. Throwing out some trade ideas.
Yeah,
all right,
Isaac.
Yep. Despite taking a drawdown yesterday.
Isaac.
Despite taking a drawdown yesterday, he still maintained a strong enough account value to keep him popping back up on the leaderboard time and time again, you know. Yeah, account management is how do you say it? Account management is real. It's a real thing. Protecting trading capital is really just as important as making good trades, and Isaac proven that by sticking around in the leaderboard. He moved into 9th place. Him moving into 9th dropped Pin down to 10th. Isaac. Oh, by the way, Isaac was in 15th place yesterday. He popped into 9th place.
Nice job.
Pin dropped down to 10th place. Sammy and Solomon swapped positions to Sammy was in 7th place yesterday. Sammy was in 8th place. And then Philip held on to the 6th spot for another day. So nice job on the bottom half of the list.
All right,
Eddie,
all
in there?
right, all right. Fire 'em up!
Here we go.
Woohoo! Here we go. No
right.
changes to the names in the top 5. There was only one change in position.
Yesterday's best up there.
Oh, I got yesterday's best up there.
Nice catch.
There it is.
It happens.
Thanks for the heads up. All right. Like I was saying, there was only one change in position yesterday. Jerry has taken over the top spot from Dakota. Jerry spent about 14 grand across 3 XFAs and bumped Dakota out of first place.
Man.
Yesterday, they were only about $250 apart. And Dakota had a really nice trading day, too, yesterday. We mentioned him earlier on the live funded P&L list. He made more than $10,000 trading in the live account. He's been putting up some pretty big numbers all month, in fact. Let's see how he closes it out. Next Tuesday is the last trading day of the month. Mark your calendars. Outside of that, Ryan, Adam, and Daniel all maintain their positions in the top 5 for another day. That is our top 10 list for today.
Oh, look out, Jerry. Dakota's coming for you.
Thank you, JD. I do think, Eddie, if you got some plugs for us, please hit us with them.
Yes, sir, I do. Report card. We want your feedback to help make TopstepTV even better. Here's the post. I'm going to post it in the chat. There is the link. Post-it link. Come on, link. We're going to be sharing in chat right now to provide feedback directly to our on-air crew about each and every segment on TopstepTV. There is the link. Also, if you're new here and you haven't heard the good news, Micros update. Micros and Topstep X are now 10-1, and all Topstep X early access traders can use this. Remember, it's only for Topstep right now, Topstep X. We will be looking into this, and we've got it in the works to add to other platforms. And just a heads-up note, the silver is 5-1 right now. So there you have it. Andre, back to you, and let's trade.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. Thank you. All right, just taking a look at the markets here. We are past the Euro close. Got about 10 minutes left here in fast markets. Still top around this 5,100 level. I haven't given much looks to the other markets going on around us. John, if you don't mind, what's happening over in gold? What's happening in crude? Having hyper focused on these equities right here. So I'm just going to why don't you take us around the globe, if you will? What do you got going on in crude and gold?
I mean, crude at the 930 bar here, there was some gyrations, but it's really just kind of come right back into balance. Not a lot going on. Yesterday was such a strong up day, added a lot of open interest. What was it? 12 straight up bars on a 30-minute bar yesterday from low to high. It's really just kind of now digesting that information. It's really, price action for the regular trading hour session is really focused right around the point of control at 82.93. So we're really just kind of digesting this level, I think, because of that big move to the upside yesterday that really did perform very well as far as volume and open interest is concerned. Yesterday was expiration for the May contract, so that may have something to do with that big move to the upside as longer time frame traders adjusted inventories for that. I'm going to take this off because this has already been checked in the regular trading hours. So really range bound, sort of here in the NASDAQ, and that's just looking through the 30-minute chart. As far as gold is concerned, we opened, we had a really decent pop to the upside that traded us right to the point of control from 2 days ago, which was 48.90, I believe is that correct level, 48.90. That's the TPO point of control from the 24th. And it really just kind of ran out of buyers there. We've got some excess on the profile there. This looks like a pretty good opportunity for a reversal in the day time frame, and it's already coming back into range and into value from today. But most of these markets are still inside ranges from yesterday. Gold is inside range from yesterday. Crude inside range from yesterday. NASDAQ just kind of getting into range from yesterday. There is the potential for the NASDAQ now to have
selling off hard.
A value area special situation play. The NASDAQ opened with a big gap. We've closed that gap now, the range gap, and we're now trading inside of value from yesterday. Value high in the NASDAQ yesterday. TPO value high 17,650. Point of control is all the way down to 17,592, and the low of value from yesterday is all the way down at 17,550. And we're showing signs of reacceptance inside that area. There may be, especially in the NASDAQ, a lot more downside to this move, and it is currently continuing to push into that value area. This could target 17,550, ladies and gentlemen. Still a decent downside move here.
Hey, John, I just want to jump in there because I did take 2 trades on that. I wanted to jump in, like, let you finish what you're doing, but I wanted to clear out my my P&L there. I marked while we had the news going on. I marked on my NQ chart a potential target zone once it broke the previous low. So the previous low being around 17,635, and I did my calculations and I marked off a intraday targeted zone, which we can see right here, and that began at 615, and it's right down to the point of control from the last couple of days. When we broke that pivot down, that one wick down at 635, I shorted, and when it got into my target zone, I closed my trade. You can see them in the list down here. I also took that short that we got out of earlier on the ES just to claim back some funds there, and we can see that my P&L is now $1.30.
Nice.
But so here's what we were. Now let someone talk. I'll talk over. I'm getting in trouble by chat.
I think you could have married that one, though. To be honest, I think you could have married that one.
Yeah, for sure. So we were right on the trade. We were all right on the short on the ES. We had the timing right. We had we had the entry right. We had enough room for wiggle room. But once we saw things turning around and blowing through those TPOs, absorbing all those upper orders, we decided we don't want this to go against us anymore. So when I lose trades, this is how I lose them. I'm right, but early. This is how I lose all my trades, most of them. I'm right, but I'm early, which makes me wrong. Okay, so I'm glad this played out on air, because I'm going to go back to the show afterwards and watch it and see what I could have done differently. First of all, it's ES on a 15-minute chart, which I'm terrible with. But we had consensus. We all agreed. We were all right. We were just all early, and we're still here. So
yeah, and we do have a tendency to keep our stops just a little too tight too.
Sometimes we do that, right?
Yeah. It's, you got to think about where everybody else's stops are going to be, and we got to be outside of those.
Yeah, and I think we had a clear thing. Deanna even said that we get the round number. We had point of control there, and we just kind of peaked it up just a little bit more. Now, if we stuck with that, we'd be golden right now, right? But we also had our like Deanna used the hypo. It's like, okay, this is our trade. This is our stop. Catastrophic, but our hypo changed when we said, hold on, we came to this level, we stayed there, buyers came in, we got rid of all that liquidation, and it came up through, and we decided, nope, this doesn't look right anymore. The hypothesis changed, the OODA loop, we adjusted it, we got out of it. So there you have it. I mean, it is what it is. It came back to that level. I shorted again at that level. I shorted the NQ at the same time toward my target zone. Took them both off, coming away with $1.30. We'll get more. It's early in the session, but I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah, I'm having a few issues with disappearing trades and brackets and weird stuff, so I'm just gonna report that.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, it's carry on. I just need to tell this to Casey.
Catching a bit of a bid here. Not seeing a whole lot of levels down here. John, you just see some continuation. The downside, it just feels like we saw if we do catch a bit of a bid here.
Yeah. The thing is, in looking at the things that Dee and I are looking at in the profiles and all of that, there's nuances for both sides, right? There's nuances that say, well, this is a good long, and there's nuances that say, this is a good short. And it's I guess it's experience or understanding, which nuance is most important in the current context, right?
Yep.
So when we and Dee and I are thinking and looking at things in a longer time frame than a lot of the traders that we have. Some of the faster, more scalp type traders that we have on there. So it kind of strips my gears because I'm listening to what they're saying and hearing what I'm thinking, and it makes it difficult to make a solid decision because we're kind of melding time frames. So when Dee and I were talking about the special situation, the value area special situation play, Dee was saying, typically when we do this, when we open outside of range, we get to the other extreme of value. That can kind of continue for a while to the downside, and that's the time frame that she's thinking in. When we were looking at that long in the S&Ps at value low, which was where Isaac was getting long, right? He was getting long at like 50.95, which was value low. It turned out to be a decent trade, but it was a see money, take money trade because the move and the nuances are all saying, well, we're one time framing lower. The up move was weak as far as what JD and I were looking at. So there's a longer time frame nuance that says, okay, we've taken out the low of value. We did the value area special situation play. We've taken out the low of value. We've been unable to get back inside the initial balance. We still have single TPOs above. This is still a short in my mind, and I'm sure in Dee's mind, right?
Oh yeah. I just the thing is, I don't like taking trades from value low because of this. Because it just kind of runs through and keeps going, and we know that we had some space below. So I would have preferred that we actually took that short from a value acceptance trade somewhere closer to value high and initial balance low. But when I'm away from those levels, I always err on the side of caution that if things don't just run immediately, I get out of the trade. So I don't want to see, a stack of orders getting taken out in the opposite direction, because that's generally a bad sign. And then you're just taking heat for no apparent reason or for no good reason. My whole idea was to take a short all the way up at 51.03, 51.02. So when we moved away from that, that's when you have to be a little bit more careful, because you're at risk of the markets turning around. But this is still a short. It's still a short. I just think that with all the consensus and stuff, we are quite late into the trade ideas, and then we end up kind of faffing around low probability levels. So that's the only thing I'm not really liking about this process. So we need to find a way to be a little bit more efficient and faster. So if we have a level, we need to enter around that level. And I know someone was saying 50.95, but I don't know how many people were saying that. I think a lot more people were saying higher up for the shorts, if I'm not mistaken. So I just think we need to be a little bit more.
It's a process we're working on.
Process work. It's actually 50-50. 5 said long, 5 said short. 50. Then we went to the poll. And that's 50-50.
That's not great, is it? Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky. Jacket confluence, you got to just kind of sit in your hands. We're just going to be chopped around here on the lows. It's okay. Well, we'll get it.
What that does tell us is a lot of people are focusing on that level. It might actually end up being a good level one way or the other. It's the consensus on what to do that's difficult.
Yes, exactly.
So really quick before we head out, I wanted to show, I actually had Robert in the background. I was going to give Eddie some material. We did get a few iterations of possible MP puppets. None of them are perfect yet. Whoa. This was the first option. The hair's not quite right. He's smiling too much. But I think
that's way too smiley for MP.
The option number 2 was kind of terrifying. This is more of like an Abe Lincoln looking MP.
Ooh.
He's wearing the Hogue rally sweater.
Yeah, the Cardi's sharp.
You know, from the picture that I used to do this, the clothing's actually pretty spot on. It's good with that. But we'll do a few more iterations, Eddie, and then if you can build our final one, we'd much appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for that.
So, D, do you have any kind of iterations on how we're trying to do this process that we might be able to improve the speed of it?
I mean, I don't know. I've never really done it. It's very hard because you're trying to take the voice of the crowd and then to translate that into an intraday trade. I mean, it's very tricky. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get there. We just need to, keep trying different things and keep trying to get more efficient with, level, direction. Maybe we should kind of have like a process where it's like level, direction, consensus, go. And it needs to happen like in minutes. We can't sit around for 40 minutes 100%. And arguing of what should happen. So I'm not sure how to solve that. I mean, I'll give it some thought.
Please do.
You're spot on, D.
I'm starting to think there might be too many cooks in the kitchen with this process. I'm starting to think.
Well, that's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Well, D, you were right on with that because we posted the forum last night. Sorry, Andre. We posted the forum last night. Posted again this morning. We had 4 entries, 4 submissions. Mm-hmm. So we're like, we want to put a trade on, and jumping into fast markets really quick like that, and snapping fingers and say, hey, what do we get for a trade? We tried it today. I mean, I threw it into our own internal thing and said, hey, let's just nail the audience here. Let's pull the chat and see, get that form going. I took 2 more shorts. I'm coming out of this, and I'm closing. Hit both target areas. We are now up $200. Sorry, I was trading, and I was making puppets, not MP.
Okay.
We are all multitasking here, folks. We are all multitasking, and I'm talking too much again, right, chat? Sorry. That's exciting to me. I'm never on fast markets. This is exciting.
It's been great to have you here.
Thank you. Oh, look, I'm $193 after I closed out, so I'm gonna have to take a micro trade, get over $200 to qualify for my payout.
That's typically been a bad
you know
idea.
What? Yeah, I know. But we hit our zones. We hit the areas that were called out. We plotted them out, and it jumped into it, pulled back. I got right back into that trade again on the NQ on the right, that zone area, 616. Took it down for a few points. Re-entered the ES trade for a few points. I figured I was up. It was 200 and something. I just marketed it out. Gave me 193. So I'll grab a couple of dollars afterwards and classify this towards a payout day.
Yeah, good job.
Well done. All right, well, I think that brings us to the conclusion here. About 3 minutes to the top of the hour. Don't forget, we got power players coming up. Very, very special guest. Everyone, make sure you stay tuned for this. Brian Shannon.
Can't wait.
Master View app. He's coming in hot here in about 2 or 3 minutes. Anyways, I really appreciate that. Thank you for joining, Robert, John, D. Thank you very much. Hey, shout out to JD, everyone that helped there in the chat. Really appreciate that. Yes. All right, let's go over to power players. Thanks again. Let's see how these markets, we are seeing some downside action in the NASDAQ. Let's kick it over to power players.